Hey, good morning, YouTubers. Coming at you from Portland, Maine again. So, of course, I got an issue today. Vehicle is in GMC Sonoma 2.2 liter SL model, two-wheel drive, sweet vehicle. But anyway, I've got the dreaded EVAP code, so I kind of learned something on this one. I thought I understood it, but I didn't. So ultimately, I even have a scan tool. But so ultimately, my journey has taken me from changing the gas cap, the obvious one, just try that. And then in the back, as you may or may not be aware, there's a canister and I think it's a purge valve or something that piggybacks onto that canister. And I thought that was it as far as pumps and solenoids, etc. So I've changed both of those. I was like, well, it's probably time anyway while I've got it apart. So I did that. And but of course, I still got the dreaded EVAP code 440, 460 or something. I don't know, in the 400 series. And I'm like, oh man. So now I'm thinking, well, maybe there's a leak, the dreaded leak in the hose. But I'm like, well, nothing's really. It shouldn't just like crack. It's in good shape. The vehicle's in great shape. So come to find out, there's actually a Purge solenoid. It's called a Purge solenoid. It's located on the engine compartment on the right side of the engine. Let me show you. Here's the part. 16 bucks. Amazon, I think it was. You probably pay 40 or 50 at the aftermarket, the part stores. So I'd go with that route. But one thing I want to point out, so I wasn't sure they were identifying on YouTube, which is the greatest ever. Some videos are great, some aren't so great, but I think everybody intends to try to help out, so that's what I'm doing. I figured, well, if this helps me, because I had a problem really basically locating the damn thing even after I found out that there actually was one. I was like, well, I guess that's good, because maybe that'll actually solve my problem. So I was looking like down under this, I knew it was somewhere. It was supposed to be on the right side under the intake somewhere. And I looked, and it's really hard to see stuff. And so I was like, well, no, actually, where it actually is about 10 inches down from under the intake on the back section, like around number 3 or 4 towards the firewall area. It's attached to the side of the engine. And I was like, oh, great. So I got conflicting information on YouTube on whether to come through the fender well, the flap, versus taking the air intake. And I'm thinking, boy, this looks like a nightmare taking that air intake off with everything attached to it, etc., let alone the bolts and access. So I ended up took the wheel off, said, let's see what happens. And that's why I'm posting now, is because I think this is definitely going to be your way to go. But let me point out a couple really things that would have been good to know to begin. One, I would just tag that flap up there, because otherwise it's just a pain. Access, you're going to see it. Just look for that orange tab. It's attached. It's located right there. I've kind of started this project. I just want to make some pointers to you. That's it, right up under there. So you definitely access from here. I would undo this electrical plug. That's the standard. That's an easy one. You just lift up on the back. Sometimes a picture's worth a million words. That's what I'm hoping you get out of this versus my description, which can be all over the place. But anyway, so undo the plug. This is for access. And I just pulled this cord down, and I was trying to undo these. Nightmare. These things are such a pain in the you-know-what. You have to basically squeeze where the hollow area is, not here, but here. And while it's on there, it's very difficult to get access to it. I was like, wait a minute. So I started looking at it, and ultimately, initially I was like, well, let me just pull it off this bracket right here, because it just slides on. Let me show you the new one. As you can see, it looks like, I'll just slide it off and on. No big deal. Well, here's something you really need to know, because it ain't gonna happen. What I did notice though is there's a stud with one bolt right there. I was like, because I yanked and pulled trying to get this off. I couldn't get it off, and I'll show you why. So I undid the nut. That's the way to go, because then you can pull it out and you'll have some flexibility to reach around and undo those clips. You squeeze really hard and pull out. They will come, but they aren't easy. You definitely need to get a good grip on them. So I got it out. And lo and behold, hello, that little spring has got to be, that clicks in, that holds it. It doesn't just pull out straight. There's a little tab on the back of your device. You'll see it when you're on your new one, and that little tab. So I was fighting a losing battle. So this is the only way to go, in my opinion. Get it out, take a bracket. Now I can pull the tab up, and it probably will come off still hard, but at least I have a chance. Because otherwise, I guess you might be able to stick a screwdriver in there and pry it and pull, but I recommend just taking the nut. It's very easy. Just I think it was a 13 millimeter nut I used, socket. And here I am. So hopefully, I think maybe this will help you, guide you which way to go, where it is, and make your judgment how you want to do it. But yeah, just the fact there were two, like I said, there's one attached to the canister back there, and then this one I didn't realize even existed till I talked to a friend of mine that worked at a parts store. But I don't know how to diagnose which one was which. I just did the back one just because I didn't know there was a front one. But my one thing I did note is that my vehicle does not run any differently, but I did notice on my live data stream that it showed the closed position. My understanding is if this valve is in the open position, it's most impacted on when it's cold start. It might start hard or something along those lines. But I didn't experience that because mine's not open. It seems closed. So I'm hoping this will fix it. And how do you get winded making a YouTube video? I'm breathing heavy already. So anyway, hey, enjoy the day. Have a great weekend, and checking out from Portland, Maine. All right, folks. Have a good one.